Can you tell them
So
about user acquisition?
Okay, so think of it as marketing for mobile. Mobile marketing is a little different. You can run TV ads, I guess, if you're Clash of Clans or I want to spend the money on Kate Upton, but otherwise you're probably not going to do that. So what you usually have to pay for is you have to pay for eyeballs and pay for users.
So if you're on Facebook and you see
all the ads on Facebook, the targeted ads. I'm sure half of you see them for games, even if you don't play games on Facebook. But you also get them on your mobile phone when you're playing one game. You get an ad for another game. That all costs money, and that user acquisition.
It's significant money.
Yeah, that user
so
acquisition.
How does that work? So if I'm going to target an ad on Facebook and I know I want to hit people, how does that pricing work? If I'm a publisher or I'm making my game and I want to advertise it that way, what do I do?
You need to go talk to Facebook. Your mileage may vary depending on your rates, but Ed probably knows a lot better than I do on the Facebook side.
And everything's defined in terms of cost per installs. You're probably going to run it on Facebook now, depending. It's funny, like trying to do a poker game, it's actually going to be relatively expensive because lots of people want casino games, and that might run you $6 or $7 per 1,000 installs versus you trying to do something obscure. You might get away with $2 or $3 per install. I just ran an Amazon campaign where we got $1 per install for the Kindle because.
But that dollar install, can you explain that a little bit? So how does that work? So
install means essentially that somebody has taken the game and is basically began to play it on
they
whatever
clicked on
device
the
I'm
ad.
talking about, right?
Clicked
right.
on
So
the ad.
You pay for an
They
advertisement.
started to play the game, therefore they count as an install, quote unquote. So you're certain that there's a user has been acquired who's actually doing something inside the game. And when I just said $6 or $7 per 1,000, you might go, wow, pretty good deal, $6 per 1,000. Well, the reality is these are for the most part free to play games, of which only maybe, depending on the type of game, 3 or 4% if you're a casual game will actually ever pay us any money out of all those installs. If you're a hardcore game like we have Kingdoms of Camelot, then maybe 10, 15% of those people will pay us any money out of all these games. So it actually becomes a very big, basically lifetime value calculation of how many installs will give me how many users who pay how much money over how much time to figure out the economics of how you will and you won't do that. By the way, this is one of the reasons why, if you're going to do advertising, you're better off with a publisher. It's way too complicated for you to do this unless you really know what you're doing.
You're bidding on those ads, right?
You're actually reacquisition of those users that they play it once, they forget, you're reacquiring the same user over and over again.
There's a concept of virality going on. If you're really truly trying to figure out the value of that install, will they tell 3 friends? And will they also come and play the game, even though you didn't pay for those 3 friends? They're actually part of your game now and playing. So it's a very sophisticated model, which is why it can get really expensive.
How many of you are really freaking good at spreadsheets and love them? Okay, then you might want to look at that. If you're not, forget it. It's
you need an expertise.
And you have to bid on those too, right? Sometimes I've seen in some where you put in a range of how much you're going to bid for that eyeball, and some other company may outbid you, and so even though you're paying $6 for that install, someone puts up $7 and your ad doesn't play.
Well, here's a scary number on mobile during the holidays. If you were trying to buy users, by the way, you're paying per install, not per 1,000 on mobile. It was up to $7 per user, not per 1,000. Per user.
I don't know if this is true, but I heard that Clash of Clans was spending upwards of 10 to 15 million a day in user acquisition. I mean, they're making that.
I don't think it was 10 that high, but they were spending over $1 million a day at one point on user acquisition.
Well, their TV campaign I heard was like over 70 million.
Yeah.
It's like huge.
It's huge. I mean,
But you can do that when you're making 10 million in profit a day, right? But for every one of those, there's $1 million that haven't made a penny.